please silence or turn off your cell phones. Thank you. I remind those in the audience and those watching on TV that this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception request brought before us today. We will first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the request. We will then give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about said request. The commissioners will have any needed discussion on the case. Once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and a recommendation will be rendered. The case will go back to the planning department for their independent recommendation. If a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is forwarded to the city council with 2 independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant will have 10 days from the receipt of the letter stating the denial to notify the clerk of council that they are requesting to be placed on the city council's agenda. The City Council of Columbus will hold a public meeting called the first reading. Said council shall consider the case, review Planning Advisory Commission and Planning Department recommendations, and hear discussions on the matter. Council will make a final decision at a second public meeting called the second reading. Our first agenda item of today is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Does anyone have any comments or corrections regarding the minutes? Okay, would a person like to make a motion to approve? All right, Mr. Baker, get a second. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, they are approved. That brings us to our first case of the day, REZN-06-23-0113, a request to rezone 0.79 acres of land located at 1720, 1728, 1730, 1744, Warm Springs Road and 1818 Springs Circle. Current zone is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is a convenience store with gas sales and a laundromat. Rodney Milner is the applicant. This property is located in Council District 8. Garrett, could we please hear from planning staff?
Good morning. The property is 0.79 acres total. It is currently in C, and the applicant is proposing GC for a convenience store with gas sales. That'll be approximately 3,000 square feet, and the laundromat, which is approximately 1,900 square feet. The existing land use is general commercial, and the future land use is general commercial, so the request does conform to the existing and future land use for the area. A traffic impact study was required and approved by engineering. Their only comments was to have a protected left turn lane, and that has been shared with the applicant. There were no calls regarding this request, and the application was originally submitted in June, and letters weren't sent out, so we were able to bring it back without having a new application.
All right, any commissioners have any questions for the planning staff? All right. Would the applicant please come forward and give us your name and address for the record and a brief overview, hey, Mr. Milner, of your request?
My name is Rodney Milner, and I'm one of the owners of some of the property and got the rest of them under contract. Basically, we're gonna, just like she said, we're gonna build about a 5,000 square foot building. 3,000 is a convenience store, 2,000 is a laundromat. We got a traffic study done. We had to pay a individual out of Atlanta, Georgia, that is a traffic engineer, and he has the engineer report, and the city has it, and I have it if you want to see it now. We did it twice to satisfy the city, and as far as I know, we can make a left-hand turn from Warm Springs Road onto Springs Circle. That's about it.
All right, so any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? All right, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for this request? All right, I see no one. Would anybody like to speak against this request? Again, I see no one. Would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. McCaskey, Dr. McCaskey.
When it comes to REZN 06-23-0113, a request to rezone 0.79 acres of land located at 1720, 1728, 1730, and 1744 Warm Springs Road and 1818 Spring Circle. Current zone is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zone is general commercial. The proposed use is convenience store and gas sales and laundromat. Everything is in accordance with the current plan. Think that we should approve it.
Can I get a second? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's approved, sir. All right, that brings us to our second case of the day. REZN-03-24-0628, a request to rezone .72 acres of land located at 5617 East Side Drive. Current zoning is single-family residential. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is general commercial. Donald McCagran is the applicant. This property is located in Council District 5. Can we please hear from planning staff?
The applicant is proposing to rezone 0.72 acres from SFR1 to GC. The plan is to construct a 5,000 square foot building on the lot adjacent that is already zoned GC. And then the lot to be rezoned will be combined and used for the driveway entrance, which was requested by engineering to have the entrance there, and a small number of parking spots. To the south and west, the zoning is GC, and there are several commercial businesses near that intersection. The future land use of the property is single family, so it does not conform to the future land use, but does to the existing land use. A Category C buffer will be required. The engineering comments were to have that curb cut on east side and no access from Miller, which the applicant has shown in their plans. That is in the staff report. And the average annual daily trips will decrease by 6. There were no calls or emails regarding this case.
Do any commissioners have any questions for the planning staff? Yes, sir. Would you please state your name and address for the record and give us a brief overview of your request?
Yes, my name's Lamar Fields. I'm representing Mr. Donald McCagran, who's the owner of the property in capacity as a real estate broker. The property is under contract to be sold to a developer who plans to put a small office warehouse complex on the property. It will face Miller Road, but we are fine with the entranceway being off of East Side Drive. The single-family property has not had a house on it in many, many years. It's pretty much overgrown with bamboo now. And we just respectfully request that you all approve our application.
Does any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? I see none. Would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Is anybody for this said request? Speak for it. I see no one. Is anybody against this request? All right. Yes, Mr. Baker. Thank you, ma'am.
When it comes to REZN 324-0628, a request to rezone .72 acres of land located at 5617 East Side Drive. Current zoning is single-family residential. Proposed zoning is general commercial. I would recommend that we approve this because it's consistent with existing land uses.
Can we get a second? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Thank you, sir. It's
Thank
approved.
you.
All right, that brings us to our next case, REZN-03-24-0635, a request to rezone 5.03 acres of land located at 5417 Chautauqua Road. Current zoning is heavy manufacturing industrial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is a banquet hall. Harlan Price is the applicant. This property is located in Council District 6. Alan, could we please hear from planning staff?
Yes, this property is 5.03 acres and was an office building in HMI zoning, and the applicant is requesting GC zoning for a banquet hall, and they've shown that in the plans that are in the staff report. The future land use is HMI, and the surrounding zoning is industrial, but there are industrial and commercial land uses in the surrounding area. There were no calls received regarding this request.
All right, does any commissioners have any questions for planning staff? Yes, sir. Could you please state your name and address for the record and give us a brief overview of your request?
Yes, my name is Harlan Price. I'm actually the architect on the project. I guess my address is 241 Tiger Way in Fortson. The owner is here, the property's here as well, in case you need to ask him questions. Basically, it's an existing 10,000 square foot office building that was originally used by the concrete company. When the concrete stuff there was local, it's been rented out over the years. I think it's been vacant recently. The owner proposes to change that from office space to a banquet hall or event center, strictly for, I think they've got a group of Elvis impersonators who want to come here and perform, and also rent it out for typical event stuff like weddings and other functions. I think it'll probably house about 500 people once done.
All right, any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Would anybody in the audience like to?
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Did you
Mr.
say
Baker.
Elvis impersonators?
Yes, I did.
All right. That's the first time Elvis impersonators have been brought up in this meeting, but sounds good to me.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak for this request? I see no one. Anybody like to speak against this request? All right. Would the commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. King.
All right. Regarding REZN 03240635, request to rezone 5.03 acres of land located at 5470 Chautauqua Road. I make a motion, we approve this request to go to general commercial as there is other general commercial in the area.
Can I get a second? Yes, Mr. Baker. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, sir, it's been approved.
Thank you.
That brings us to our next case of the day, REZN-03-24-0635, a request to rezone 31.64 acres of land located at 2601 Cortland Avenue and 6214 Forest Road. Current zoning is single-family residential. Proposed zoning is single-family residential 4. Proposed use is single-family residential subdivision. Wiser Homes LLC is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 4. Tucker, could we please hear from planning staff?
This property is 31.64 acres and currently SFR 3, and the request is for SFR 4. The surrounding zoning is SFR 2 and 3. The future land use is single-family residential, and the existing land uses are single-family residential, so this is consistent with both future and existing. 92 homes are proposed for a density of 2.9 dwelling units per acre, which is much less than the maximum of 7.25 that would be allowed in SFR 4. SFR 4, the difference between that and SFR 3, there's only a couple differences. SFR 4 is a minimum lot size that's about 1,500 square foot less, a front setback that's 5 foot less, and a side setback that's 3 less. And those are the only differences between SFR 3 and 4. The access is going to be existing street stub outs on Morning Dew Drive and Lemongrass Drive. At the current zoning, approximately 174 homes could be built, but like I said, only 92 are proposed. And I received one call regarding this and someone who was interested in coming to the meeting but did not give me any more information than that.
All right, any commissioners have any questions for the planning staff? Hey, sir, would you like to state your name and address for the record and give us a brief overview of your request? Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. McCaskey.
When is the project going to start?
That would be a question for the developer.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Dave Erickson. I'm a general contractor speaking on behalf of Wiser Homes. Wiser is owned by Teresa Owenby, who's in the audience here today. This is effectively a redevelopment project that was started in 2007. Woodruff Contracting started the 2 subdivisions in the area, Eagle Point and Cortland Ridge, in 2007. They made some progress and then stalled from there. We are coming in, restructuring it just slightly, but using the same basic layout as proposed previously. As stated, we expect to be somewhere in the mid-90s for lot count, and we're trying to put new homes for sale in the affordable range that people can handle in that part of Columbus, and bring some energy to the neighborhood. I've spoke with a number of neighbors in the area, explaining what we were doing. I reached about half of the 40 people I knocked on one Saturday afternoon, and I generally received pretty strong support. And in fact, of the several people I talked to, 3 of them expressed a strong interest in buying a house there, so that's always a good sign. You asked a question over here, sir, about when we start. We will start promptly. As soon as we see that we have a clear path that we're going in the right direction, we'll launch the engineering. I expect we'll probably start turning dirt October would be a good guess. First houses would be available early next year.
What's the average price of the houses?
Right now, we're targeting something in the 1,500 square foot range. I would expect we'd be at 230 to 250 current pricing at current interest rates. As interest rates might moderate in the future, we will try to increase our square footage. But I think our target for the audience that we're trying to address in the market is that lower 200 price point.
Does any other commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of this request? I see no one. Anybody like to speak against this request? Yes, ma'am. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Hey, I'm Toya Tucker, 216 Rock Court, Councilwoman for District 4. I'm not saying that I'm against it, but I would like to have a meeting with those residents in that area prior to this getting approved. I know that the lot size will be smaller. We're building everywhere in District 4 at that 200 some plus range, and it's the same lot, the same zoning that we're currently trying to take down, and those houses are selling for 200 plus. So right now, I would really like to get with those residents prior to actually approving this. I want them to be able to say whether or not this is something that they want for their community.
All right, ma'am, I wanted to ask you a question. Did y'all not get anything in the mail, about this?
I don't live in that area. I just got the zoning information from
Okay, so
our.
you represent the neighborhood then?
She's the councilwoman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I'm councilwoman for the district, and because.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I am the councilwoman for the district, I would prefer that the residents actually know what that means when we're talking about going from SR. Yes, I would really want them to know, because right now I have a home that's being built across from my house. Every home in that area has a garage. This home doesn't. All the neighbors are complaining. So we just want to make sure that those residents actually have an opportunity to hear and see exactly what these plans mean.
Yes, Ms. Thomas.
How are you doing?
Hey.
So you're saying that the plans for these new houses have not been shown?
Well, I just got them. Yes, ma'am, I just received them. So I don't know if the residents have, and as you said, I don't know if the person that reached out to you was trying to call to talk about whether they were for or against it, but we need to give those residents an opportunity to actually determine if this is, because it would change really we're going to a smaller lot size, and I'm gonna say that neighborhood has been there for years, and the integrity of the neighborhood, I just want to make sure that these individuals have an opportunity to know exactly what's being put in place and have a voice, and not afterwards, and then we're, concerned and making comments about it. We need to let them know now, and I know I want to know. I want to be able, because I just got the plans, so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you say letters were mailed out and no one was against it?
119 letters were sent, and there are the required rezoning signs that were posted. And I only received one call that just asked when the meeting was.
Just one.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and I would say this, and I'm talking about and I know this is separate, but Stain Mill Road, a lot of times people do not look at their mail. I don't know what it is, but it wasn't until we had that actual meeting for Stain Mill Road where an individual found out that their home was gonna be demolished for the Stain Mill Road, road improvement. I just can't, I'm not saying I don't trust mail, but we know we got mail issues right now. I just want to make sure that we physically have a meeting with those individuals in that community to let them know exactly what's being done, and I think that's the best thing to do.
I have another question. Okay, Ms. Tucker, are you going to have the people there? Is the builder going to be there also, or just the community people?
No, the builder can be there. I mean, with the project that we had on Stain Mill Road, we had the individual who had the maps up, all the
Right.
information. Just give them an opportunity
To
to
see it.
actually see
Right.
they've been there for years and years and years.
Right.
Let them have the opportunity to see what is being developed. I mean, they might love it, but we still need to give them the opportunity to know exactly what's coming in their community. If this was adjacent to my neighborhood, I would be here. But they need to know and they need to see. And I just think that's the right thing to do right now.
Right.
And it's not saying that I'm against it. I'm just wanting to ensure that they have an opportunity to actually see what's coming in their neighborhood. I think that's the right thing to do. And we can set it up as soon as possible. I can get the media blast, a press release and everything, and we can set that up in that community.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Erickson, come to the podium.
Thank you. Just some clarifying. I just lightly touched the topics that I did not actually think I was going to get much discussion about it. But I would reiterate, I personally reached out to about 40 people that lived in the immediate area, tried to make sure that information was well known. I'm sure the neighbors have spoken to amongst themselves as well. Reminder, we do have rezoning signs and mailings that go out on a regular basis. I did receive a call from a Miss Elizabeth Gibson, who is the community watch manager she lives in Playfield Drive, which is to the southeast a little bit, probably about a third of a mile as the crow flies. And she asked me some clarifying questions, much like was brought up here. And I explained to her what we were doing. She was actually quite enthusiastic about seeing something happen there and move the project forward and move it into a usable status so that the riffraff hanging out in the woods wasn't going to be an issue there. I will clarify, our intended product currently is 1,400 square foot, 2-car garage, and well-done finishes that would be appropriate for new construction. So I think we're bringing a high-quality product to the neighborhood people appreciate. I've received nothing but positive response from the neighborhood, so I hope I've clarified some questions for you.
Yes, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, sir, how you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Okay, the house that you're building, you're saying, do you have a diagram of what you're building? Any kind of,
Normally at this stage, we don't get involved in, this is a discussion about zoning. What's the appropriate use of the property for the type of houses we're building? But I can tell you, as you look at it, you're gonna see garage, front window, front door, pretty standard stuff. It's gotta fit on a 50-foot lot, so it's about 40-foot wide. It's more deep than it is wide. The current plan is our primary plan. We'll probably have 3 or 4, actually. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, covered porch as part of that as well. And I would emphasize this is a redevelopment of the previous zoning SFR3. We're using the same depth that's already there, the same exact road network that's already there. All we're doing is asking it to be a little bit smaller so we can get a little more cost effectiveness, because the cost effectiveness you start off with the lot has a great influence on the cost of the product at the end. One influences the other.
thank you.
Yes, Mr. King?
I have a question for staff. Realizing that Ms. Tucker is the council person for this area, is this appropriate for council people to speak for or against at an initial planning advisory commission when, in essence, they're going to hear this case eventually anyway? I mean, if it passes here or fails here, it's going to wind up going to council. And so I'd like to have some clarification on that, if this is appropriate.
That would be a Clifton City Attorney question, and I can get an answer for that. I'm hesitant to give one without speaking to him first.
Well, this
on that.
isn't the first time this has happened.
Correct.
So I question that. And I understand your concern for your constituents, but, we are the first order for public hearing, and then you're going to hear it as council members, and I see there's 2 here in the audience today. Is this appropriate? And I'd like an answer.
I can't give you that.
No, I'm talking about from Clifton.
Of course, yes.
Thank you.
I can tell you that you can vote today. There's nothing, this has been on the agenda. Everyone was properly legally notified. And we can do a meeting with the neighborhood for Ms. Tucker before city council.
Totally agree with that, but But it's, you know,
But I will answer
this
that
being the
question.
first step in the rezoning process, you know, I question that.
My name is Emily Jackson, and I live at 6334 Hunter Road. And she mentioned something about receiving letters and all that. I haven't gotten any mail about this. The only time I know anything about, and I'm not saying I'm against it or for it, only time I ever saw anything is when I'm passing, going back and forth, and I see 2 rezoning signs up in the neighborhood, and it doesn't actually say what property, and I guess y'all talking about behind Forest Road. And then there's the other sign up on the hill, I guess that main part of the woods, is that what y'all talking about? Because we live in the neighborhood and we haven't received any information.
Here, I can show you that.
And like I said, I'm not against it, I'm not saying I'm against it, or I'm not for it, but when you sit up there and you say, we received mail, we haven't gotten anything.
Only 119 people received mail, if you're within 300 feet.
More than 119 people out there right now, we like to know what's going on in our neighborhood.
Ma'am, I need you to speak from the podium, please,
I
so
said
we can hear
there's more
you.
than 119 people in our neighborhood, and I, as a person who have property there, I would like to know what's going on in my neighborhood before you go and just zap something up and we don't know about it.
Thank you. Is there any other questions from commissioners? Would the commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. King.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Case number RDZN 03-240635, a request to rezone 31.64 acres of land located at 2601 Cortland Avenue, 6250, 6214 Forest Road. Current zoning is single-family residential. I make a motion, we approve SFR4 zoning for this area.
Do we have a second? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those against? All right.
Hold it. You better get a count.
Yeah, could see against it again, please. 2, 3, it's a tie.
Okay, so you have to break. the tie.
We approve it.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us to our last case of the day, a request to rezone 14.80 acres of land located at 3160 Primrose Road. Current zoning is Plan Unit Development PUD. Proposed zoning is Residential Office, RO. The proposed use is residential multifamily. Huron Wright is the applicant. This property is located in Council District 1. Can we please hear from planning staff?
This property is 14.8 acres, and a single-family PUD was approved in 2008 but never developed. And the applicant is requesting to rezone to RO to allow apartments and townhomes. The proposed development will be 240 apartments for rent, with 24 units reserved for tenants who earn 80% of the average median income for Columbus. The amenities for the apartment will include a pool, clubhouse, trail, and office. This development will also contain 45 townhomes for sale, and that would be built in Phase 2. The future land use is public institutional. The adjacent zoning is SFR2 with RMF2 to the south. The adjacent land uses are Park Hill Cemetery to the north and east, a mortuary and an apartment to the south. And then to the west, on the other side of Primrose, is an established single-family residential neighborhood, and there are commercial uses closer to Macon Road. The proposed development will generate 1,906 average annual daily trips, and that is an increase of 1,613 from the PUD from 2008. The development was proposed in August 2023, and after the signs were put up, the neighbors scheduled a meeting with Councilman Barnes and the developer, and they came and met in here, and that was in September, to address their concerns. And the top concerns were traffic, especially from Macon onto Primrose, the increase of rental properties, low-income housing, property values, traffic specifically at the elementary, crime, and general opposition to apartments. The applicant was told that a traffic impact study would be required, and that has been submitted and approved by engineering.
All right, any questions from commissioners to the planning staff? Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
King.
who is the commissioner for this area? I mean, Barnes?
Barnes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for planning staff? All right,
I have a question.
yes, Mr. Ball.
Was there any, in the traffic study, any consideration given to a traffic light at Macon and Primrose?
Macon is a GDOT road, so we'd have to go through the state for that, but that has been requested several times, and that, I'd have to talk to engineering about that. But the traffic impact study, which I put in the staff report, they suggested that the two driveways would have an ingress and egress for both, and that is one of the conditions that we put in there. So if you vote to approve this, we would ask that you approve it with the conditions of the traffic impact study.
But that's on. that would
That's
be
on Primrose. This, yes, we can't do anything to Macon Road because that was not suggested in the traffic impact study.
But that has been requested.
It has been requested, yes, yes. That level of service out there is a level E, which is almost the lowest. F is actually the lowest, so that means that there's significant delays at Macon and Primrose. So it is an area of concern.
I had another question too, the average annual daily trips. I think you said it, but I didn't hear it. It said will increase to 1,906 trips.
Correct, yes, sir.
So what is it currently?
Currently, if it was to be developed as a PUD, that would have been 293 average annual daily trips. But right now, it is just trees.
So it's significant increase.
It is 1,613 trips increase.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for planning staff? Sir, I see you're at the podium. Would you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Yaron Wright. My address is 4006 Harris Road, Ellerslie.
Yeah, could you give us a brief description of your request?
So the property is 14.8 acres. We plan to build townhomes and apartments. The initial amount of apartments that we initially put in the application, we plan on reducing that to kind of compensate for what the traffic study replied, and to kind of create more green space on the development.
All right, what's the number of townhomes you're putting there?
We wanted to increase some townhomes and decrease the apartments. So currently we have 45 townhomes. We want to decrease the apartments by about 150 apartments. So basically leaving 100 units.
All right, does any commissioners have questions? Yes, Ms.
Are these gated apartments?
It will be a gated community, yes.
They will be gated?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Baker?
And the townhomes, will they be rented or be sold?
The townhomes are for sale.
Okay.
What's the average price of the apartments gonna be? How big are they gonna be square foot wise?
The apartments will be roughly about 1,300, 1,400 square feet. The townhomes will be roughly about 14 to all the way up to 2,000 square feet.
Do you have a price range?
The price range on the townhomes will probably be around 300,000.
Are any other commissioners? Yeah, he's doing 45 townhomes. Yes, ma'am. Does any other commissioners have any questions? Yes, Mr. King?
So just for clarification, you're saying 45 townhomes and 150 apartments?
Well, we wanted to raise the amount of townhomes and lower the apartments. So roughly about 150 townhomes and 100 apartment units.
So you want to go to 150 townhomes and 100 apartments instead of the 45 townhomes and the 150 apartments, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So that wouldn't change traffic much, would it? It would considerably?
I can't answer that. I don't have this new site plan. I'm just now getting this information myself. So I can't give you density. I can't give you daily trips. I can't give you any information.
All right, any other commissioners have any questions? Would a commissioner like to make a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody in the audience like to speak for this request? Would anybody like to speak against this request? All righty. Would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. King?
You know, we don't have all the information we need to make a motion today. As far as I'm concerned, if there's going to be changes in the plan and changes in the number of units going in here, my suggestion is to table this case until all the information is clear and planning can share a better plan with us as far as what you're going to do here. I know Primrose is a very, it's kind of like a thoroughfare going through there. So I'm going to suggest that because I will actually make a motion to turn it down at this point because there's too many questions needing to be answered. So I'd like to make a motion that we table this, and if I get a second, then we'll vote. Oh, we got a second.
Second, all those in favor, raise your right hand to table this case. All righty.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there any other business we need to discuss? Yes, Mr. Steve.
Just from the comments coming, I know we all know this, USPS has been terrible about getting mail out, and just kind of want to discuss what can we do to make sure all these neighbors are getting notified of what's going on. I know we have signs posted, but as far as the
The
mail.
legal requirement is 7 days, and because of the mail delay, I've been sending letters about 3 weeks early. And that's the best I can do because some of these letters for city council have to have, did planning commission approve or not? So I can't send it till the PAC meeting. So for these city council letters today, I can't send them till after this meeting. And then I can send them without the maps, which I've been doing because we don't have the maps yet. So I'm getting them out about 3 weeks early, but the street in question, Hunter, is way outside the 300-foot list, and that's our legal requirement.
Yeah, and it wasn't specific to that.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just
The mail has
touched on
been
that in general.
a discussion for the past couple months, and so I've been sending them out almost a month early.
Yes, Mr. Baker.
Just a point of clarification too, when these letters are they sent to the owner of the property or to the current resident of the property?
They are sent to the owner on the tax roll.
So what that means is that
Every renter.
anyone who is a renter is not getting a letter
That
to
is
begin
correct.
with. And if the owner has a different address as their mailing address,
Which most of them do in some
They-
places.
then nothing is going to these people.
That's what those 43-inch by 72-inch signs
Right.
do.
Okay.
Is there any other?
And those signs have 2 phone numbers for the developer and for our department.
Okay. Anybody else like, any other discussion? All right, can we make a motion to adjourn? All right, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. On our schedule, I put that we could potentially have a meeting on June 19th. That is a holiday, and so we will obviously not be meeting that day.
Thank you.
That was
so-
my mistake.
Thank you so much. All right, will I get a motion to adjourn? Get a second, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, we're adjourned.